Well, it's 6 o'clock, everyone. It's time for the new year. Happy 2024. Yay. And I'll start off by making a roll call. Phil Stuckelbeer.
Present.
Paul.
Here.
Paul Merritt.
Here.
Andrew Ritsky.
Here.
Marshall Allen.
Present.
And Rick Countess.
I'm here.
And you've got one person who Al, he resigned.
Yeah, Al resigned, so we're going to be one short for at least till mid-year.
So the first thing on the agenda, excuse me, on the agenda is to have an election for our new chair for 2024 nominations, and I'd like to start off by nominating Ann Zorinsky. I've had an opportunity to work with her a couple of times over the years, and I think she'd make a great chair. So that's one nomination.
I will second that.
Any other nominations?
Move the nominations to be closed.
A second in nomination.
Nominations motions have been approved and closed. So, all in favor of Ann being our next chairperson, say aye. Aye. All opposed, say no. Guess what, Ann? Congratulations. And the next thing, I'll guess I'll do the last thing, is to elect a vice president. And if there are no nominations, I will volunteer.
I nominate
Second.
John Hay.
All in favor, any more nominations? We'll close the nominations. All in favor of me being the vice chair? Say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. That's good because I don't think Ann's going to be able to be here in February. But guess what, Ann? You now have the floor.
Oh, jeez. Great.
So the
So
people,
let's see how well this goes. Now that I know we're being filmed, nothing like starting off. All right. So next, right. Next business is approval of the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
The approval of the agenda is approved, or
Right.
agenda is approved.
Motion carried.
Thanks for helping me out. Next is the approval of the previous month's minutes, which were from October 23rd, 2023.
Make a motion, we approve the agenda, approve excuse me, the minutes from October 23 last year.
Second.
Those in favor of adopting the approval of the agenda? Or, sorry, the past minutes?
That's minutes. That's okay.
Yeah, it's gonna go, this part's gonna go rocky for a while.
Don't worry.
Say aye.
Aye.
All right.
So motion carried.
The motion carries. The approval of the previous month's minutes. Any public to be heard tonight?
No.
All right, skipping that. Communications
Golf course.
from Golf Club professionals.
Do you want me to just read the year end?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to do all three since pros actually did not need to come tonight. I just was here to open up and figured out hang out. So we'll start with Sunset. So here for 2023, projected total we had was just under $500,000. Actual revenue came in at just under 675,000. Projected rounds was 31,509. We came in at 33,428 rounds. Yeah, that was actuals, right? Yep. Okay. Pretty good. To be honest, for Sunset, for us to be in that category that high for us was pretty stout. Even going into December when it was nice, it was busy. I mean, limited hours, you're open from 9 to, last tea time was like 2:20, 2:30, and it was turning people away still. Now, I'm sure Sam and Keith had the same situation when it was busy, but pretty good. I can't argue with that. Twin Peaks, let's go on to them. Projected 2023 for the year was $1,014,258. Actual revenue came in at $1,577,574. Projected rounds were at 36,428, and actual rounds came in at 41,203. Very good. View Creek projected for 23 was 1.382,600. Came in actual revenue at 2.27 or 2.2 million roughly. Rounds projected were 41,963. Actual rounds came in at 43,977. That's pretty stellar. Do you want the overall total as well for? So the overall for all three combined, 23 projected was 2.8, just under 2.9 million. Revenue came in at 4,459,673. Rounds, so your projected total was 109,900, and actual rounds came in at 118,608 rounds. It's a lot of rounds. A lot of traffic. Overall, up 16% for the revenue and up 2% roughly, I believe, for rounds. Any questions? I will try to answer as best to my ability for these facilities.
I have a question.
Rick?
I'm curious to know, maybe I just don't understand the graph here or the chart, but the actuals versus the projected versus the actual in revenue, it looks to me more like about $1.6 million as opposed to 619,000.
Compared it to the previous year.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, it's previous.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, understood. Thank you.
And you will see the anticipated number for 2024 going up quite a bit, just because we've had, 4 years of really high numbers, and we're going to start being a little bit more aggressive with that.
Okay.
In increasing of rates. We increased rates last year, and then we did another increase this year, $1 per round. But we have not touched those the annual passes and membership fees since what we say was 2017 or 18. Since we've touched those, and so those are now, they've gone up on the systems. So for the first time in a while, those are up. So potentially, if people buy them that have bought them in the past and still see it as a value, which still is a very good value, that will also help, and that's why we'll probably be a lot more aggressive with next year's 24's revenue and rounds as well. So
Thank you.
So that's
Oh,
over.
great, Mike.
So
But yeah, next is old business. And there's no old business at this time, so on to new business.
Yep, so some of the things we have to do at our first meeting is organizational, and we would need to make a determination about whether the fourth Monday at 6 o'clock still will be your meeting time, and again, normally at Twin Peaks, due to the heating being out over there, we had to meet here tonight, but would need a motion saying that we would continue to meet the fourth Monday at 6 and at Twin Peaks, if that's what you all want.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, motion carries.
And then the final thing is where we post our agendas. The official location would be the city website, and we'll need a motion on that as well. That way people know where to go to see about your agendas.
Do I have a motion?
Make a motion to put the agenda on the website.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion so carries for posting the agenda on the city website. Do we want to discuss the agenda?
Yes.
Next.
Yes, So each year during our January meeting, we talk about the agenda schedule. And the last couple of years, the board has chosen to meet both in January and February, and then thereon going every other month. So that would be an item I'd like to hear from the board if you want to continue to do that, or if you'd like to meet more often, as well as agenda topics that you would like to cover. We talked a little bit at our meeting in October about some of the things that you all would like to hear, and you asked to delay that until this meeting. So I've done kind of a draft agenda of what could be on there. Again, this is all flexible, and we can make changes or additions at any time. But would really like to hear from you all some of the things that you would like to have presented to you throughout the year. And just as you're thinking about that, give you some possible areas that you might consider, and then pinpoint from there. Budget and CIP, which we normally do in February. Any questions or anything you would like staff to review with you in regard to the maintenance or operation of the golf courses? Anything that you would like to have possibly talked about with the more of the clubhouse and the pro operation for how they serve our golfers? Any future needs that you would identify that you would like to have done either on the golf courses or in any of the golf properties? Anything that you would want to talk about that would include an improvement or enhancement on the experience of coming to the golf courses? Any review of policies that we might have? And then of course we would continue to do bond project updates as we move throughout 24, since we've actually got some things going there. So anybody have any suggestions or thoughts about what you would like us to review, and really with a purpose of giving you all more purpose? And we're already at the end of our agenda, and we've only been here 15 minutes. And I would really like to see our meetings lasting an hour or an hour and a half, but would really like to hear your feedback on what you'd like to talk about.
Well, I'd like to meet every month.
You would?
I would, but that may not be good for everybody else.
Well, actually, I prefer every other month, mainly because we don't have a lot to say. The meetings went through it all last year, and I personally tried to come up with ideas, and every time I went out to play, I'm always playing with people I don't know, so I'm always asking them questions and explaining I was on the board, etc. And honest to God, I couldn't get anything out of anybody, really. It didn't matter whether I play here in Sunset. All I did was rave about the course. Well, they loved the prices, the green fees, and I couldn't really get anybody to say something really negative.
That's because we let everybody golf for free that was with you.
Yeah. Right. And you know, the only comments I got here at Twin Sunset was women's toilets. You know, saying we wish they had a bathroom, and you just couldn't get anything for somebody to make a suggestion about what they didn't like or what they wish we would change or, you know, something. And so part of it, I thought to myself, gee, should we have a board? I mean, there were times when I was thinking, why do we even have a board? Because nothing's done. I mean, when I talked to Keith, you know, I guess he used to spend a lot of time worrying about pricing, and then that's all changed. And but the other side of it is we knew somebody has done a damn good job on these courses. I mean, think about it for a second. I mean, you know, we've got 3 great golf pros. They must do a hell of a good job of managing what's going on there, because we can't get any complaints. And so I'm not sure what else we could talk about. Maybe more. The one thing that I missed was I kept wanting to play in the over 80 golf tournament. And dadgummit, the year I turned 80, it quit. So, you know, so for it's,
That was 2020.
yeah, so I'm 85 now, so I still wish we had an over 80 golf tournament.
Yes.
I'd love to see how.
We did in 2019.
Yeah, right, we
Yeah,
did.
2019, yeah.
And
2020 stuff, yeah.
my roommate played in it, for years actually. So you know, we even had a meeting about what are kinds of things we could discuss. Well, if we had quote some problems, maybe that would be a good thing to be able to discuss. But I mean, some of you have been here for years, for God's sakes.
Sorry
So,
to interrupt.
Yeah. So I don't know.
Sorry to interrupt, Board Member Rick.
I'm just curious, along your lines there, John, can we do a city survey? Can we stick out a survey for golfers to go to? Because, I mean, the pros, they get it daily, right? You guys, and I mean, I'm sure you can sense a trend when somebody's happy or unhappy, but from a global golf community population, you know, if we could gather information from all courses and tabulate it and get a real sense of how we're doing, you know, as providing this service to our community.
My recommendation is to make sure that it's like QR code, something that they can do right here while they're thinking of it at the time. That way they don't say, oh, I'll do that later and then not. And you don't want people that aren't really utilizing the course, you know, chiming in on it just because they're like going, aha, you know, we don't need a golf course here. That sort of thing, that's not what you want. You want to hear about, is the facilities adequate enough? Is the you know, lawns being kept up and that type of thing?
So I'd like to talk about the enhancements because, you know, on a couple of different topics, we've talked before about trying to get children and women more involved in golf. I mean, it's primarily still a male-dominated sport as we sit here. But growing up around and on golf courses, I've always thought of it as more than just golf. Because, you know, the family time that it brings, or the things that you can do when you're not playing golf, or the hot dog cookout type thing. So I'd like to hear more on what we can do, because to get the community more on board, then it's just a place where you go and play golf and that's it. I think it can add more to the community instead of, and I know some golfers just want it to be for golf, but that's not gonna keep it to where it can survive.
So you want attractions for women and children?
Women, children, families, like I live in the neighborhood of Twin Peaks, and I mean, there's a few of us who have talked, it'd be great to like walk down there on a Friday FAC and not playing, not going to the driving range or not playing golf, but being able to just sit on the patio and they have like some attraction, whether it was going to be burger night.
I do know from time to time Keith does have bands that come.
I think he's done like one a year.
Well, we had the party,
Mm-hmm.
and then he also has had another cover band that displays on the deck. I think they were there a couple of times last year, towards the end of the season.
So, and if that's the case, I'd like to see it advertised.
Yeah.
A little bit more presence, because I didn't even know about it, and I'm on the board, and I live in the neighborhood. So, I mean, that's my 2 cents, is we want people supporting.
Non-golfers.
All right,
Not necessarily, yes and no, I mean,
Golf
potential golfers.
there you go.
Yeah, that's it.
Well, if you're trying to bring in more women, not that this will automatically do anything, but my daughter is like a member of a sorority and she's got an alumni. The alumni associations of all these sororities are probably, if they were approached, you might get a few women from the Longmont vicinity to come and golf specifically for that. You create, by asking if they would be interested in having a tournament type of thing for their alumni, might bring in the women and have people going, I love that little course over there at Sunset, or I love that, and that sort of thing, to bring in more women. And you're not going to get somebody from Kansas to come in here. You're going to get somebody who's like maybe in the Denver metro Longmont area, and then they're going to talk more about how wonderful our facilities are, and the views and all the other things that we have here going in at our golf course. But it is focused on women, is my point, and it is something that, with CU being right there, they've got sororities that many of these women have gone alumni to, and they would have families, and that's how you start to pull them in, that sort of thing.
I want to go back to the survey thing and to Councilman McCoy's comments there. Is it possible we could have questions with regard to what barriers prevent you from playing golf? And I know when I first started playing golf, I come out of the golf course, I was intimidated. A guy could hit the ball 300 yards, and I'm trying to get it past 200. It's 200. Well, yeah. But my point being is, I imagine that's a big roadblock for women. I mean, they come out here and they see a guy hit a ball 300 yards, and this is ridiculous. I'm not going to try to compete. And it's not a matter of competing, right? It's a lot of social aspect to golf. So
I think that's why guys do it.
in large part, come here in the men's club sometime. Yeah. So, but
I mean, I wasn't intimidated. My dad put a club in my hand when I was 5, so I didn't know I looked.
yeah, but somebody like my wife who doesn't play golf, she'd like to, but she comes out here and goes, hey, maybe I should go to the range a lot more before I come out here. So.
But we've talked in past meetings about just the pace of play. Like that is
Yes.
a huge
Yes.
factor in how all golfers treat each other.
And
Like
golf etiquette.
Golf
Yeah.
etiquette.
Well,
I
that's the
mean,
one complaint that I got was golf etiquette, but like Sunset here is a place which is obvious, people in town who are just starting to play golf. And so, I mean, you shouldn't come, I don't think you should come to Sunset until you're gonna, you know, run around the course, because it's beautiful for people just starting to play golf.
It's also a challenging course.
Yeah, I know, and well, it's the most challenging 9 holes in Longmont. But anyway, so we have talked about etiquette. The other thing, going back to the idea about asking comments, when we, you know, when we play golf, you send an email out that says thank you. What if you had attached to that some kind of, would you be willing to do a survey? You know, I don't know what kind of comments you get. Certainly, probably the ones that are mad might be willing to you know to fill it out. But at least you get some kind of comments anyway. But anyway, that's one thought, was attaching to that. Thank you for playing golf.
I do know that on the online reservation site, when you book and pay online, or if you book through Golf Now, they do have an email that goes back to you after saying thanks for playing. I believe there is an already one on that one, so we'd have to figure out a way to do it to just someone that walked in the door, in a sense. So Golf Now, I'm pretty sure already has that set up for the prepaid tee times versus when you book with us over the phone. It's a little different. So
Totally different topic, but obviously course maintenance is one of the most important things, one of the biggest expenses, etc. And what's being done on the courses is obviously outstanding. But I'd be interested in how far down the road are we looking? We're looking at water issues. Are we looking at, you know, what kind of new grasses are there that maybe we could be planting that take less water, et cetera, et cetera. What are we doing to look way down the road to see how we can continue to keep the courses in the condition that they are, which is wonderful, without going crazy in terms of costs?
And I see that as one of their challenges of keeping up golf courses in the public eye, is how much it takes to make them beautiful. Which is why I see their beauty. I want more people to be able to share in that.
Yeah. And you know, that could be an area of some negative comments. Why are we spending all this money to keep these golf courses looking so green and great when there aren't that many people using them relative to the whole community? But if we could let the community know that we're doing this to keep the cost down, where we've replaced the irrigation system, we're looking at new, you know, grasses, et cetera, or whatever, that enable us to keep them looking like they are without being a financial burden on the community.
Any other?
I don't know, did you want to go over your list one more time?
Sure.
Because you had a pretty extensive list.
What, the one I sent, you want me to, or just what I've been taking
What you
notes
just,
on?
no,
Yeah.
what you just read, or read before that. Yes.
The idea of building.
The idea.
Oh, the idea. Oh, sorry. So, ongoing maintenance, which you just talked about, Paul. Clubhouse operations, anything you want to know about what, because it's kind of a unique situation, and if you go outside the buildings, anything that's green or growing is those guys. Anything that's inside the building or deals specifically with a golfer or their behavior is the golf pros. And you know, there's that fine line of the city contracts with the golf pros to do their job. So they are open to feedback, but I can't really, as a city employee and them as contractors, tell them how to do their business. So there's that difference between what Brian does and what Brian and Dan do. So we can certainly talk with the pros to see what they'd be willing to discuss, but beyond that, some of that's their business and we can't do anything. Future needs, I would really like to hear from the board. You are out there golfing, you're seeing things from the golfer's point of view. Hear your suggestions of what could be done on the golf course that would improve the experience. Somebody had mentioned restrooms. That's something we could put on the list and evaluate. But are there other things that you'd like to have considered? Finishing, over the years, people have said finishing the cart paths
Yes.
out at Butte Creek, doing better with the cart paths here at Twin Peaks. Are those things you want to hear about and talk about, or?
Yeah, you can throw in like tall netting along 3rd Avenue.
Good luck.
Hey, just an aside from that, just for a second, last year, in January, I was playing with somebody that was hitting it off the blue, and on the 3rd hole, he hit it way up. It hit the furthest tree on the top and went out into the street and hit a car's windshield, broke it.
Oh.
And of course I brought that up at one of our meetings, but everybody says it's cost so much, and the people across the street might not want to see the nets, etc., whatever you have to do. But that actually happened while I was playing with somebody. Whatever that's worth.
I've done it.
Yeah, if we
I've
were
done
looking
it.
at
It happens.
Yeah.
putting up netting, especially around Sunset, we would really, I think, need to do some work with the neighbors, because I think there could be some really negative feedback.
Oh, yeah.
And
Cool.
part of the reason I give you that as an example is we have issues at Butte Creek Golf Course with balls, and some of our ways of dealing with things is trying to plant trees. So if I'm complaining to Dan about balls hitting my house, I say, I want a tree, and I tell him where to put it. Paul lives next door to me, and he hates where I want it to be placed. So it is something that seems as simple as planting a tree can really cause issues. So putting up netting, which may be a good thing, I think that we'd have to do some real work.
Along communications-wise, one of the things I thought about was I want our golf courses in Longmont to be appreciated, and how do you get that news out? Well, every month with utility bill, we get that 2 or 3 page thing, and I thought to myself, gee, I wonder if we could, on a monthly basis, have something there about the golf courses. I don't know what it would be, or some tournament coming up, or somebody did something, or we're making new arrangements to this particular golf course, etc. But to get the word out about our courses might be one way to do that. The other thing, which I think is really important, is that the courses pay for themselves. And I think if you ask most of the people in Longmont, I think they would think the taxes are paying for these courses.
Yeah.
And to me, that's a big benefit for our courses. And I mean, that should be shouted loud and clear umpteen times. But somehow we need to get out more information that's that's beneficial for the courses. And I thought about it when I read that. I thought, gee, wouldn't that be nice? Something about Butte Creek, or something about Twin Peaks, or something about Sunset, or something, and make that sort of a thing that's in that brochure that comes out to everybody that's got a utility bill.
City line.
Yeah. That's a monthly publication. Problem is, somebody has to write it.
Yeah, who would do that, Jeff? Jeff?
No, it won't be Jeff. Just because nobody would want to read what I wrote. But the city does have a comms team, and we could certainly work to get some things in there.
Yeah, it might not be every month.
Yeah, but on occasion.
Like, do we have any events coming on this year? I mean, I know we had the 100-year anniversary, which doesn't happen very often, but are there any events that
I'll write
we're-
up the thing for the 200th year. I think that what we had committed was that there would be a concert at U Creek this year. Is that not, am I remembering that right?
I don't remember.
So Recreation helps organize those events, and we'll do one, but I think it's at U Creek this year.
And so Recreation is in control of the golf course events too?
I
Versus,
would not say in control of them, they're helping out to do the programming of those events.
Okay.
In conjunction
Of
with the
non-
golf pros helping pick the dates and.
Yeah, of non-tournament events.
Yes,
They do, Recreation does the concerts,
yeah.
period.
Most of the golf tournaments are ran, the pros, we set them up, and then we schedule them, we have them on our calendars, and then when Recreation wants to host an event like that, then they go through our schedules, verify it with us that is a date they can do it on, and then we plan accordingly at each of the golf courses.
okay.
I'm sure this would be very expensive, but you're talking about wanting to increase the speed of play, putting GPS in all the golf carts. Because every time I'm going, I'm always looking at my phone to see how far it goes.
And that's, John, why we haven't done that is because everybody has a smartphone
Yeah,
that
I know,
does the same
but-
thing.
I know, but I just,
I'd have to look it up. I don't think GPS units and carts have actually been proven to increase pace of play. Because a lot of players, a lot of those touchscreens, like for the ones that I've used in the golf
Yeah.
cars, I can click where I want the target, so I'm sitting there still fiddling with
yeah,
it.
okay.
Versus I use my laser and I shoot the numbers, but
Right.
everyone's different.
Right.
There's no wrong answer, no right answer. Somewhere in the gray.
So I'll take this information, plug it into the calendar, and then have that on next month's agenda for you all to approve. Is that all right?
Sounds
Have,
good.
have we approved the meetings yet?
No.
So how do we want to approach this? Do we want to revisit it? Or do you want to approve it as,
Well, no, we don't need to approve it tonight. I do need to have feedback from, Marshall had mentioned trying to meet more often. Is that what all of you want to do, or how do I move forward with the calendar?
I still think every other month, given that our meetings are so short, that if we haven't,
I second the every other month. Do we want to take a vote?
No.
As I say, I agree. I think, if anything, maybe make our meetings longer with more content in each meeting versus more meetings to show up. Because then that gives us more time to be out playing golf, getting some feedback, and that to bring to meetings versus being here an extra time or two for a couple more meetings, which may mean you may not get out as often.
I move that we approve the proposed meeting dates.
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So dates are,
Opposed?
so,
Okay.
opposed? Sorry, opposed?
I'm not, no. I lose.
Motion.
So, yeah, did you get that, Danny? Marshall was against.
Sorry.
I'll get to you later.
All right, I'll bring the agenda schedule next month, and you all can approve that if you're all right. The other thing I want to do real quick is introduce Councilmember Sean McCoy. He is our new liaison. And would you mind, board members, just introducing yourselves real quick?
Paul Mayer, I live up on the northeast side up in Prairie Village.
Marshall Allen, live on the southwest side.
I'm Rick Accountis.
I know. Long time no see.
Indeed, Sean.
I'm Ann Dorzensky. I live near Twin Peaks Golf Course.
I'm John Hayden. I live halfway between here and Twin Peaks.
Philip Shookbeer and I live over by Ute Creek.
But let's just finish out Ryan.
Ryan Williams, I'm the head pro here at Sunset.
Dan Reese, the supervisor at Ute Creek.
Ryan Haynes, maintenance supervisor at Twin Peaks and Sunset.
Danielle Shara, golf admin.
All right, well, I live just, my parents live on Cornell, just on the opposite side of Mountain View. And I live on Humboldt, just around the corner from Twin Peaks. So, and I've been on this board before. Remember when Ryan was, I think, coming out brand new back in the day.
2012.
Yeah, pretty close to that time. So, and so, I'm happy to be back on this board. I wanted to be back on this board. I'm not much of a golfer, I'll admit that, but I'm an idea guy. And my ideas are always trying to think about how to make things, better and with the tools we have and the facilities we have. And so I'll always be thinking there and trying to advocate on behalf of you the best I can to council to make sure that we get if we need to look at the irrigation system, we need to look at the irrigation system. I know that's always been a bit of a problem out at Twin Peaks for sure, and those sort of things. So I want to make sure that we have these for my grandchildren's grandchildren, because these are important. I grew up on these on the west old part of town here off of 3rd and Day, so Sunset has a special place in my heart. I was a lifeguard over here at Sunset Pool for 10 years while I was in middle school and high school and college, so I really have fond memories of Sunset and the golf community.
Are there any more items from the
Well,
staff?
We have bond projects, but it wasn't on
No,
the.
yeah, just, so Ryan and Dan are gonna do just a quick update on the bond projects, since we have some, again, good news. So Ryan, you wanna go first?
Okay, so I'll start off with Sunset Bond Project with the irrigation system. So right now where we're sitting, our new pump station parts were delivered this morning. Half of them are installed in the pump station. Hopefully the rest of it should be installed tomorrow, all dependent on availability of parts. There's a few extra parts that didn't get sent that the installers need to pick up, and hopefully they're in stock. So hopefully by tomorrow the new pump station parts should all be installed. On the golf course, all the sprinkler heads on this north side are turned into the new heads, except for 9 left on 9 fairway. And beyond that, the construction company will be done here at Sunset and all wrapped up, and they'll return once we turn the water on, and hopefully everything works, or get the kinks ironed out. At Twin Peaks, they've been making very good headway with nice weather we've been having. As we sit right now, all the piping and wire for the project are on, along with all the other parts, are on site. They now currently have main line installed up 2 fairway on the west side, the south side of 3 fairway, down 4, from 3 tee to 6 fairway, and then coming back down 6 fairway up to 6 green right now, and then there's one little part from 2 tee to 1 tee they've done. So they have most of the main line done on the west side of the golf course. As of right now, the plan is to start on laterals, hopefully later this week or early next week. We're going to be out tomorrow staking the exact location of the sprinkler heads so they can be starting to install sprinkler heads soon.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Will we be using less water as a result of the new integrated?
Yes.
See, that would be a thing that I think could go into that utility thing. That'd be great when we're going to, the whole thing about why we're going to use less water with the thing going in. That would be a great, I think, paragraph in the utility thing. And explain, you've even talked about it before. I forgot some of the things we can do now that we couldn't do before.
Oh yeah, we're going to have full control of the system, computer control, less energy usage.
So
So
that's I think should be really a big thing for Longmont to know what we're doing in the golf course, and how we're saving money and also resources.
And the latest estimate that we have on water savings at Twin Peaks is about 37%.
Wow.
Which is
So,
significant.
wow.
And what it'll also allow us to do is Ryan will be able to control every head on the golf course, so he can adjust them to water more if needed or water less by head, compared to right now it's one head shooting water 100 feet. And so you get really wet areas and really dry areas, so that's really gonna improve that.
To that point, are there
Marshall, yeah,
sensors
target.
in the ground to
no, they make some, but we don't. It's kind of one of those weird technologies. You
Okay.
can use them, but they have to be removed when you aerate.
Ah,
So they're kind of one of those things you can put them in the ground, but then you can't aerate because
so
they
they're
have
in
to
the
sit
ground.
in that zone
So the
Okay.
where the roots are,
Okay.
where you want the aeration time. So to aerate, you either have to go around them,
Right.
or you'd have to remove them, then aerate, then put them.
So there's going to be some sort of inspection schedule then, I assume, where we're going to walk the course and say, oh, this looks dry, this looks wet?
Well, every day we drive around, that's part of my
Okay.
job,
Okay.
my assistant's jobs. We check to make sure everything's running, where
Gotcha.
it's wet, where it's dry.
Okay.
We anticipate it's going to take a little bit to get the kinks wired out of the course and figure out exactly where things need to be dialed into, but
Right.
we'll have a lot better idea and more tools to our
37%, that's huge. That's
When was the
big.
decision made that you were going to change the irrigation system?
Well,
2-3 years
in
ago.
2018, the voters approved doing that work.
So what a follow-up, we have something we haven't rushed into. We've taken our time, we've done extensive research. I mean, this is a lot of work's gone into coming in with what we're actually getting ready to put in now. I'm just thinking about an article that would, that would really shine for our course.
We have to be careful about that. It's a double-edged sword, because in 2018 they approved it, but now we've taken 6 years to get the savings. So you have to be cautious about what you're going to send
Well,
out
whatever.
information-wise.
Well, okay, you're
Well,
right,
and
you're right.
The problem is it costs so much more money to do it, and what was approved in 2018 is less than half of what it's costing to do both of our projects. The timing with COVID couldn't have been any worse, because things just skyrocketed in price.
Well, whatever, but I still think the topic is something that would be fantastic to write about
Yeah.
and let people in Longmont know what's going on with them.
Right, but so in continuing on with it, talking about that, we can say, yeah, bond was approved in 2018, COVID hit, cost went up, we waited till, because the course is self-supporting or pays for a lot of these things, we waited till we got additional money to help pay for that the bond didn't. So you can spin it with the right press as to why there was a wait and how this is now going to help us with water savings and other economics behind it. So that's why I said you have to be careful what you send out, because it can be construed either way. Why'd you wait, or why didn't you? You know, it goes both ways.
You don't even need to say that it was approved in 2018.
No,
You
it's
just
just
say
what,
that
the
the
decision
city-
was made.
Yeah, they,
Voters.
I
Your
would,
good
I would say
judgment
there was
approved it.
newly installed irrigation saving this much percent.
Yeah,
Right.
that's what
I mean, that's why I said there's a couple different ways, you know, but you have to be careful, because again, people may think, well, why are we spending all this money to put in irrigation, even though we're gonna save money? How much did it cost us to save the money? So again, you can spend things a lot of different ways depending on how it's presented.
Yeah, but also, the price of water's gone up dramatically over the last 5 years, and it's gonna keep going up.
and it's not just the money we're saving, it's we're using less water,
Using less
which is
water and
becoming
also-
so.
You're preaching to the choir at this
Yeah,
I know,
board
I'm just
table.
saying, yeah.
But that's why I said, we just have to be careful about how it's presented and rolled out.
Well,
So-
because then the next question's gonna be, well, if it's that great there, how come you haven't done it at U? That'll be the next question.
Yeah, I like that. I like the sound of that. Let's start next December.
You do see.
Well, no, you want to get a clubhouse, don't you?
No. I'll take an irrigation system over a clubhouse any day.
Dan still has 25 years to wait for a new irrigation. This is still well.
All right, Dan, you want to talk about the maintenance building?
Yeah.
There's where your money went.
Yeah, it did, and I'm fine with that too. So, so if you've driven down Highway 66 lately, you'll see that it looks completely different than what it did 2-3 months ago. So they've wiped the old farmhouse, they've wiped all the lean-tos, all the trees are gone, the trees on the east side are gone, and all the piles and everything out there are gone. So right now we're in the process of digging footers for our maintenance building, which will be the building on the west side. That'll house our break room, offices, the bays, the wash bay, and all our storage areas. So they have the footers in the ground. They're starting to form the walls over there, so it actually looks like a building. You can see the footprint of the building before the walls go up. So they've done that. Now they're moved over to the east side, and they're going to do our maintenance building, our equipment building, which will house all the equipment, where we can keep everything indoors now and extend the life of all of our equipment, get out of the sun, the wind, the rain, snow, all that, and be able to start some of our equipment in the winter time. Like just last week, we couldn't get our tractor started because it was, minus 11 degrees. So that our equipment building will have minimal heaters in there just to keep it, 40 degrees or something like that, keep it warm. So they've done that, started to dig the footers for that, and then the utility guys are there also. They've came in off of Ariel Court, which is not on the property, but a little bit east of there. There's a right-of-way through, where the open lot is there, which is going to be a development here soon too. We've started to bring in the sewer line off of there, and they're probably halfway to the maintenance yard, and they've only been there for like 3 days, so they move at a pretty good pace when they get going. So yeah, it's pretty exciting to finally see some dirt being moved and concrete in the ground, and you can see what's going to be happening here in the next 4 or 5 months, shooting for mid-July, something like that, for it to wrap up.
And for the irrigation project at Twin Peaks, they'll be working pretty hard through April, and then they will be, for the most part, leaving the site and going back to their project in the mountains, which ends up working well for us because then we're not dealing with construction during the busy time of the year. They'll come back sometime mid-August to early September, and then they should finish that work by the end of the year. So all three of the bond projects should be done by the end of this year, which is big. That's all we have.
All right, So, on to items from the board. There- So, no items from the board, so,
Move for adjournment.
Second.
all right, all in favor of adjournment?
Uh,
Right.